Welcome back to CryptosRus. I am George. We're all George. So today, let's talk about what to expect this week and what to expect overall for Bitcoin, especially after U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is hinting that there will be no more rate hikes due to weakness of banks. So, let's get started. Welcome, guys. Let's just jump right in and talk about this. So, U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen spoke last week and talked about, what's going on with the banks, right? And she indicated that the banks may tighten lending because there's just not as much liquidity as before, right? And if they're not lending out as much, that means they're not making as much money, right? And that means that businesses and individuals may suffer. And therefore, there may not be any more need for rate hikes. Okay, this is what she thinks. And Powell said so before as well. The last FOMC meeting, he said that they decided to go with 25 basis points instead of 50 basis points because he feels like tightening of the banks equal rate hikes. So if the banks are tightening more and more and more, and I bet they have been since SVB's failure, right? So that can negate any more need for any more rate hikes. Even though right now it seems like the market is still pricing that Powell and his buddies will be raising rate by another 25 basis points, right? But I'm still clinging on that there will be zero. And maybe Janet Yellen will be right this time because she has not been right throughout this whole banking crisis. But maybe she's right on this. Maybe she does have more insight than the rest of us, and she's talking to these heads of banks and realizing that they're all very, very scared at this point. And they all rather tighten than over leverage themselves in case the economy turns for the worse, right? If this happens, there's no more rate hikes. This will be absolutely fantastic, setting the stage for a massive bull run with markets, with equities, with everything. And that includes Bitcoin and crypto, right? So, something to look forward to. But coming back to this week, what can we expect for this week? Well, there's always more economic data. Looks like for this week, I mean, they're all relatively important. Manufacturing index, good. I mean, important. Jobless claims, important. And then you have another one from Philly, existing home sales, right? These are having less and less weight on the overall market moves, I would say. But still, nevertheless, they're important. And if one is really off base, like really off from estimates, then it does sway markets. But right now, it seems like things have calmed down a bit. The U.S. market, overall not doing very well. But Bitcoin is still holding strong, still holding above $30,000. $30,000, and Ethereum is still holding right around $2,100, and the overall market cap is just holding despite still weakness with the U.S. market. That is absolutely fantastic. That's what we want to see. Bitcoin and crypto is still holding and gaining slowly. We're not seeing crazy massive pumps, nor should we at this stage, and that's good because if we do see massive pumps, that usually means massive dumps right afterwards and we get a lot of volatility. Right now, it's actually really calm. Slow and steady climb, and that's exactly what we want. We build a base and continue forward. But here's something interesting. If you thought Bitcoin was large, just look at everything else out there, including just money in general. You have debt, you have real estate, you have gold, you have equities, right? So let's talk about Bitcoin surpassing gold. It has to be like 600, 700,000 to surpass gold in market cap, right? But a lot of people have been talking about Bitcoin being in the millions, million 2 million, 3 million, 5 million down the road, and people are asking, where's the money coming from, right? Just look at how much money is out there. There's so much money out there, it's almost unfathomable, especially when every country is still printing more of it by the trillions. So in another 4 years, another 8 years, all these numbers are going to be much larger. But imagine just a small portion of that coming into Bitcoin, okay? That will drive Bitcoin up to the millions. And it really wouldn't even, it still wouldn't really even register. Look at gold. Gold at 12 point something trillion barely registers in this pie chart, right? So even if Bitcoin was as large as gold, it's just a small little, sliver. So that's the thing. That's the thing. Bitcoin being at over 1 million, probably about 1.5 million, would be equal to base money on this pie chart. So again, even if Bitcoin was over $1 million, you would only have that small sliver while everything else still dominates. That's how early it still is and how small Bitcoin is compared to every other asset class that we have. Think about that. It's the smallest one that we have. And 10 years ago, New York Times posted this. The economic significance of Bitcoin was basically nil. And this was when Bitcoin was at $100. I guess at the time, he was not wrong, right? When Bitcoin was at $100. But, how things have changed within 10 years. Now, it actually registers on this big pie chart. A little bit. Barely, right? But imagine another 10 years where Bitcoin will be. And this is interesting about the November 28th cycle. Basically, this person, I'm looking at how November 28th is like the peak of every cycle for some reason. It just happens that way, right? So this is not like the 4-year cycle. This is like the November 28th cycle, even though it happens every 4 years. And according to this, our median price is 34,500. So that is where Bitcoin needs to hit next. I think that's right around there, and we'll probably break above that into the 40s and 50s. There's just a lot of charts that say the same thing, right? But it's pretty accurate. It's been pretty accurate so far. So we'll see how that goes. Of course, there's still a lot of speculation of where Bitcoin is going to go this cycle. Maybe not to the $1 million or $2 million I just stated. That's longer term. But this cycle, can we see a 350,000 Bitcoin? It's possible. It's possible. Why not? With everything that's going on right now, why would we doubt this? The last few runs also incredible. No one thought we would hit the peaks that we did. I mean, just imagine, I lived through this. I saw Bitcoin in 2013 go from 1,000 all the way down to $160. Who would have thought at that time that Bitcoin could go not only back to 1,000, but to break 10,000 and then peaked out at 20,000? Who would have thought that would have happened? And same thing, I lived through 2018, 2019 when Bitcoin dropped to a low of 3,100, okay? And then to see it go back up and then down because of COVID pandemic, and then went back up. So you're talking about 31,000 all the way up to 69,000. Who would have thought that would have happened, right? So this time around, once we break 70,000, we head to 100,000. Maybe we start going up and down to 150, 200. Can we peak out at 350,000? I mean, who's to say it won't happen, right? Don't know. But short term, a lot of people are thinking that, hey, maybe we're going to take a breather a little bit. Stock Money Lizard thinks that maybe we drop back down to 28, 29,000 and we'll continue forward. But, for me, I'm like, it doesn't need to happen. We could just, consolidate right around 30,000. There's no reason to think that we must do that. But it could happen. It cannot happen. But I focus on the long term. I'm focusing on when this pie chart, right, the green section is filled up with Bitcoin. That's what I'm focused on. Right now, we have barely scratched the surface. As large as Bitcoin is, barely scratched the surface, and Web3 crypto decentralization barely scratched the surface. And the thing is, markets are going to change really quickly. Evolution, technology, they move so quickly. So Web3 could be dominating space within the next 48 years, and you don't want to be missing out on that either. Bitcoin, Web3, I mean, everything is going to be enormous in the future. So, looking good. Now, speaking of Web3, Arbitrum. Arbitrum, the biggest L2 for Ethereum, is making a lot of moves. You guys know that, okay? Big deal that they airdropped a whole bunch of tokens, you know, like a month ago, right? And since then, it's been falling, found the floor, now seems to be going up. So people are picking up that there's a couple things going on. Number one is Arbitrum truly decentralized? Because it seems like the foundation moved 700 million away, and then people didn't like it, and now they have a proposal to move it back. So this is testing whether or not Arbitrum is truly decentralized and the governance works. And it does seem like it is. It is working. So that is pretty good. But also, what people are paying attention to is this. There are a lot of traders right now that's betting big on Arbitrum. This is interesting. A trader that made $3 million on Polygon since July has now gone long on Arbitrum, right? So what does he think? Well, if you look at this, they actually broke this down. This guy made a total of $7.3 million in profit with a win rate of 65%. That's pretty good. One of his largest holdings right now is Arbitrum, and he picked up a ton of it. Right now, about 2.3 million. He also picked up a ton of Magic and also Singularity, although he's been selling that off, it seems like. No, he hasn't. He has 1.2 million. So his three largest is Singularity, which is AI, Arbitrum, largest L2, and Magic, which is in the DeFi gaming space. They're relatively small. So, I don't know. Does that mean Arbitrum is going to go much higher, right? Well, I made this claim yesterday, just yesterday, in case you guys missed out on it. If you look at the total TVL, Ethereum is still, of course, a big daddy, discounting Tron because you can't trust those numbers. Arbitrum is number 3 already at 2.3 billion, more than double of Polygon. Okay? And what does that mean? Well, you look at how big Polygon is. I love Polygon. I think Polygon ZK EVM is going to change the game, and they work with so many brands. So, yes, Polygon deserves to be a top 10, but Polygon is close to $11 billion. Okay, so think about that for a second. Polygon, as big as they are, has less than half of the TVL of Arbitrum already has. So, you can make the argument that Arbitrum at least should be at the same market cap as Polygon, right? If not more. You can make the argument it should be at least double of what Polygon's market cap is. I know it doesn't always equate 1-to-1 like that, but still, if you think about it, makes you wonder, is Arbitrum really undervalued at this point, right? And here's something else that I am going to be doing more research into, is if you look into Arbitrum, you look at the projects that exist. Some of these are widely known. GMX, Uniswap, Aave, I think Sushi. I think a lot of people know about a lot of these chains. But what about some of these that may not be as known, like Radiant, for example? I'm not that familiar. Stargate, and then you got a few others in here. Maybe they are the gems to be looking at, right? And not just for Arbitrum. I've said ZK Sync is another big L2 that's up and coming. They're ones to look at too. But besides them, you know, there's others on this list like Optimism, right? They're up and coming. They're already at number 5 also. There's a lot to dig into, right? So that is something I will be doing a lot more of in the future. Also with my newsletters, I think a lot of you guys don't know, I do have free newsletters, and you can subscribe directly from CryptosRus.com or from Twitter. But yeah, I'll be covering a lot more in the future, so make sure you look at those things. And then lastly, I'm seeing a lot of Congress and Circle basically having hearings about stablecoins and how to regulate stablecoins and how to introduce stablecoins, right? a lot of you guys have been asking, are CBDCs good, or are they Bitcoin killers, or what are your thoughts on them? Well, here's the thing. You look at CBDCs, you have the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde, saying that they plan on launching a digital euro. And then you have others within the U.S. saying that, yes, the Fed, Powell, is looking to come out with his own CBDC, right? So it makes you wonder, why all these hearings all of a sudden? Well, it makes sense. It's because all these government bodies want to come out with their own, and they want to shut everyone else down, right? It's really that simple. But is it good? No. Say no to CBDC, although I don't think we have much choice. It'll be forced upon us. But know that a digital currency controlled by the government, by central banks, is not good for anyone. In fact, it makes it worse because now they get to see everything. That's the whole point of this. They see everything. With cash, they can't track everything. You have cash, you spend it at a gas station, you go buy groceries, whatever you do with cash, right? You hide under your mattress. No one knows where it goes. But now you get paid in digital dollars and everything's digital. They know exactly where everything is going, whether you're holding it, whether you're spending it, at what place, what time, the exact amount, right? Who it's going to. This is the whole point of CBDCs. And it's actually really bad. But does this threaten Bitcoin? No, because Bitcoin is a store of value. It's a commodity. It is a medium exchange, but still, this does not threaten Bitcoin. But does this threaten other stablecoin makers like Circle, for example, and USDC and USDT? Yes, because I think they're going to spend a lot of effort trying to regulate the space, so much so it may drive them out in favor for these new CBDCs, a new digital euro, a new digital dollar, and China already has their digital yuan, and everyone else coming out their digital CBDCs, right? Not a good thing. Not a good thing. So that's why another reason we should all stack more Bitcoin and get away from that. All right, let's do some Q&A. All right, scrolling down here. Scrolling. Happy Sunday, everyone. Let's see. Sam says, bonk again. Come on, man. Don't put too much into these degen plays. Skillful says, greater upside for Arbitrum and Optimism. These layer 2s are getting hot, and they're building TVL so quickly. So quickly. You know, I talked to a lot of, not a lot, but recently a few, right? And they're building within Cosmos or building within Condena. And the number one question I have for them is, are you building compatibility with Ethereum? Because if you don't, you miss out on so much. And some of them are. Some of them say they're not working on it, right? But we have seen countless other chains go in that same direction, saying we're going to stay on whatever chain we choose. We're not building EVM compatibility. And then they change their mind later, because you can't ignore the giant elephant in the room, and that is EVM compatibility. Every dApp maker coming into the space is looking for that, because it has the biggest development base, the code, the code base, and not only that, the biggest users, and all these DeFi plays and bridges, they all build compatibility with ETH first, right? So it's very hard to build on another chain and not have that compatibility and become successful, right? So that is the reason why Arbitrum and Optimism and everything else that is compatible, they're dominating with TVL because it's so easy to provide liquidity and kind of bridge in. When, you know, when you're on top of something else, it just stays stagnant, you know? That's the thing. But yeah, it's exciting. I think Arbitrum and Optimism, and let's not forget, Polygon is in that space. Phantom is in that space. They're L1s, but they're also L2s because they're EVM compatible, right? Even Binance Smart Chain is EVM compatible. So they're all, like, all these big ones are all EVM compatible if you think about it. Snuffy Dog, I discovered crypto back in 2013 and I got in 2014. And I started mining back then. Ferraris are going back up a little bit. What colors are FA? If you have a Ferrari, you got to go with red, right? Russo Corsa, I think that's what they call it. Russo Corsa. This is the main Ferrari color. If you're getting a Ferrari, you got to get that. KO, there's more to that story. I know a lot of you guys watch my house video that I just put up before the stream. It's very frustrating. There's more to the story that I'm going to share in the future. But I am now thinking about taking action after the house is built. One of the concerns is I don't want to hold up the house build. I don't want to cause so much ruckus that everything just halts. So, but I am thinking about doing something afterwards. But there's a little bit more to the story. But it is something that I've been bothered with by a long time. BTC dominance going down a little bit, barely though. 46%, it was like 46.2, right? But still way up from the 42% or 41% we dropped to. And that's because Ethereum got a little bit stronger. Today, BNB is a little bit stronger. I know a few others got stronger too. Arbitrum got stronger. ICP is a little bit stronger today. You know, a few others started moving. Rocket Pool because Coinbase, Neo is starting to move. I don't know anything that's going on with Neo, but they could be moving because same reason that Conflux is moving because China seems to be more pro crypto, especially wanting to make Hong Kong a new Web3 hub. So I don't know if that's the reason, but Neo's been pretty dead for a while. Injective is still very hot. Injective just seems like they're on a tear right now. They're the most promising project, I would say, within Cosmos right now. Or the most promising I shouldn't say that. There's just a lot of L1s in there, but they're one of the ones that's gaining the most strength right now. 400% in the last 90 days. That's insane. I talked about Wu Network yesterday. Singularity is still hot. 156% in the last 90 days. Are you excited to watch the new Guardians of the Galaxy? I am. You know what? People introduced me or told me about Picard Season 3. Because I watched Season 1. It was okay. Season 2 was kind of bad. Season 3 of Picard on Paramount Plus, by the way, is excellent. Going back to its roots, right? Seeing, you know, a lot of fancy battles and bring up the Dominion again. You know, It's really good, although this is the last season, so it kind of sucks. But looking forward to Guardians of the Galaxy. I still need to see the Air Jordan movie. I don't know why it's rated R. I would love to bring my kids to. I don't know why a movie about shoes is rated R. It makes no sense to me. And then Dungeons and Dragons. I'm not a Dungeon and Dragon guy, but like the critics are giving it like a 95% rating. Renfeld, yeah, someone else told me Renfeld was really good, Scooby-Doo. I might, it looks so cheesy. Nicolas Cage looks so cheesy, but I don't know. I don't like over-the-top cheesiness, you know? To be honest about Mario, I thought the first half of Mario was way too boring, even for a kid's movie. Like, my kids almost, like, fell asleep. The first half of the movie was just too boring. They made it too long. They dragged it too out. The last half, especially when they were actually fighting Bowser, that's when it was interesting. It brought some emotion to it. But like the first half, I thought it was really boring. I expected better, to be honest, but it was still better than some of the recent films I've seen. Why did I get a construction loan? Because I don't want to be spending crypto when everything was so shitty. It's so down, right? We're right at the cusp of the next run, so it makes no sense to be selling crypto when Bitcoin is like at 15, 16,000, right? Why haven't I made a video on my F8? I don't know. I haven't had time. And again, you know, a lot of people take it the wrong way if you're like, showing it off, so to speak, right, during a down market. So that's why I've been waiting for better days also. And plus it was winter. Now it's clearing up. So a lot of reasons. You should have Janet Yellen on my show. I don't think she would agree to come on. Something I am very excited about. So I'm gonna start tweeting this, and you guys can make recommendations too. So I told you guys that I want to start a new show on this channel. Not gonna be a new channel. This channel. I have to come up with a name, maybe like Whale Tanks or something like that. So me and Brian Evans, who I've met recently. I've become really close with him. Fantastic guy. He's just a really friendly, fantastic, connected guy. But we are going to be doing a new show where we will invite a new project to come aboard. We will lightly vet them, meaning that we have to make sure they're not a scam coin or anything like that. But we won't know too much about them on purpose, right? So we will invite them to a show, and we will basically give them like 5 minutes to pitch why their project is good, why it's important, and blah, blah, right? And then we will hard grill them for the next, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, right? And then determine whether or not it's a good project. That's really it. And then we can follow up on that with spaces later on, whether or not we have actually invested in them or we passed on them, stuff like that, right? So it's more of getting into the VC space that I said I wanted to get into. It's very interesting and fascinating to me. But I think you guys will enjoy that too. So a lot of you guys are looking for like new gems, new gaming plays, new web plays, Web3 plays and stuff like that. I think you guys will get a kick out of it because for the most part, there'll be projects that are unknown, new projects, right? They're not going to be like, You know, it's not like Charles Hoskinson's go come on, right? It's going to be newer projects that have potential, hopefully. So I'm going to kick that off this week. I don't know when I'm going to debut it, probably the weekend, but I'm going to film during the week. I think it's going to be a good one. Whale tails. Hey, maybe I should call it harpooning. Oh, I don't know. I think people would take offense to that. Is PYR a promising project? T, you asked that last time too. And I said yes. Yes. I already answered you. I said Vulcan Forge is, in my mind, the second biggest gaming platform in this space. They did really well in 2021. They have like a dozen in games. I have met Jamie Thompson, the CEO, very nice guy. So I do think they have a lot of promise. All right, I'll let you guys go. Overall, you know what? We got a lot to look forward to this week, and we got a lot to look forward to after that, because we may not have any more rate hikes. At least that's according to Janet Yellen, right? Stay strong, my friends. I will see you guys tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Enjoy your Sunday. Tonight I'll have a weekly recap video for you guys. Always good. And that's it. And check out my Drivers Only channel. I got a GR86 review up and my house video up on the I Am George channel. So plenty of videos for you guys to enjoy. All right, guys. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.